My name is Michael Farrell. I was a former member of the community of the Carmelite monks in Wyoming from the years 2019 to 2021. I'm aware that there's been some accusations floating around on the internet against the Carmelite monks, and I can assure you, especially for you young men out there discerning with this community, that in my experience, it was the best experience of my life. The fathers and brothers were an outstanding example of virtue, and the accusations made against the monks, I will assure you in this video, to be false. I'm also aware that a lot of you are worried regarding how chastity is lived out at the monastery and modesty, and there were various accusations leveled against the monks for this as well. I can assure you, when you go there are precautions in place. There are, of course, curtains on the showers. I never experienced anything whatsoever in regard to anything against chastity or anything in regards homosexuality or anything like that in the 2 years I was there. Absolutely 100% there. They live the vows very well, obedience, chastity and poverty. I would recommend this community to anyone. There are also, in some of the accusations, attacks leveled against some of the monks themselves, in particular Brother Joseph. I can assure you I've worked with this particular brother. In fact, in the 2 years I was there, I would think he was the brother I most certainly spent the most time working with, and I can assure you he always had our safety in mind. He was very charitable, very skilled labourer, very good at what he did, very self-sacrificing. He always ensured we took enough breaks, made sure we were using the right tools, always kept an eye on us, and I found it very beneficial. He was very patient with me. I myself didn't have a lot of background experience in that field of work, and so he was able to meet me where I was at, and I had a great time there, and I found he was very beneficial, a very good example to the other brothers. And in the 2 years I was there, I most certainly never experienced any physical abuse of him. I noticed in the accusations there was a lot of focus on work and how it was bad to be doing work and construction work and things like that. I personally found it very beneficial for myself. It really helped grow a balanced life. Some of you also have voiced concerns and worries from the accusations based on how the monks live obedience, how their prayer life is, and how much manual labor they undertake. And for this, I'd like to reference a doctor of the church, St. Teresa of Avila, or St. Teresa of Jesus, as she was known in religion, reformer of the Discalced Nuns, of course. And on page 24 of the Book of the Foundations, I think she addresses that very question, where she says on page 24, "And as regards obedience, he wishes us to walk in no other way. If then this be true, whence proceed that disgust which we frequently find in us, when for a great part of the day we have not been retired and absorbed in God, although we were engaged in these other things? In my opinion, it proceeds from two causes. One, the first and principal one, is our own self-love, which in a very subtle manner mixes itself up with our actions and therefore cannot easily be discovered. And this self-love consists in wishing to please ourselves rather than God. For it is quite clear that when a soul has once begun to taste how sweet is the Lord, she finds greater pleasure in her body being free from labor and her heart being delighted by divine caresses." She also says here, "I was in great trouble for having so little leisure, and thus I pitied them to see them always occupied in business and in other matters which obedience commanded. And I thought within myself, as I told them, that it was impossible amidst such confusion and disturbance to increase in virtue. O Lord, how different are thy ways from ours! And when thou dost require of a soul who is already determined to love thee and give herself entirely into thy hands, but that they should obey and inform herself of what tends more to thy service and this desire and nothing more. Such a one was that person with whom I spoke a few days since, who by obedience had for 15 years been so engaged in his duties and offices that during all his period he did not remember to have one day for himself, although he endeavoured as far as best he could to devote some spare time in the day to prayer and the purifying of his conscience. This soul was the most inclined to obedience that I ever saw, and he even imprints the virtue on all whom he converses. Our Lord has liberally rewarded him, for without his knowing how, he enjoys that liberty of soul so highly valuable which the perfect possess. O happy obedience, happy distraction, which can procure us so much good."
Oh
So, like I said before, my time with the Carmelite monks of Wyoming was the best experience of my life, and I would recommend this community to anyone. I would encourage you to just ignore all the rumours and the gossip and the lies and go on the official website, contact the vocations director, and follow our Lord, as he said in the Gospel, come and see.